Hi everyone, welcome to the Fearless Energy Update for November 15th, today, Sunday, November 15th until Saturday, November 21st. We shift into Sagittarius season this week. Before we get started, I just wanted to let you guys know that I did open up a few spots for the 6-month 2021 forecast if you would like to get a personal forecast done. I also have some astrology spots open, some tarot readings open. There's a lot of stuff. There's a couple of openings next week, just a few. So this coming week and next week. So if you'd like to get a spot in for tarot and astrology, and then I have some December openings for the forecast readings. All of that information is in the description box. And of course, if you would like to join us on the memberships, we would love to have you there as well. You get a whole bunch of extras when you join up on the membership. So let's get started. Okay, so coming off of the Scorpio new moon that happened either really late last night or at like midnight if you are in Eastern Standard Time, early this morning, the moon shifted to Sagittarius where it trined Chiron today, and the sun is sextiling Jupiter while Venus squares Pluto. So there's this kind of a magnetic energy that's sort of swirling around today. I noticed that the energy was a little bit more chill, like it was kind of exhausting to be a human today. I don't know if anybody else was feeling that, but that's why it's taken me so long to get to this today. It's like I really had to build my energy up to be able to get to this point. And so I think that we're really integrating that new moon in Scorpio energy that went on last night. It was very powerful. It feels like we're being cleansed. A lot of times I've always recognized that when the energy feels a little bit heavier, it's like we just need to get over that hump. We just need to get over that that energy clearing and then come out the next day, and it just feels like we have so much more energy, and I think that's what's actually going to be happening. So be very careful with the information that you're receiving from people right now, because you really want to take care of your own values, and it's important for you to resonate with what you want to resonate. There's a lot of controversies that are swirling around right now, and we don't all have to agree, but we definitely should really try to be respectful even if we're not agreeing with each other. And this week is really going to show that. As we get further into Sagittarius season, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening while we're in Sagittarius season with the planets, and I think that now is really a time for us to make sure that we are clearing out and releasing a lot of the toxic energy that we're holding on to. And this week is sort of helping guide us through that. Tomorrow, Monday, the moon is trining Mars, Sagittarius moon is trining Mars, Venus is squaring Jupiter. There's going to be, I feel like tomorrow's going to be really a lot of energy, a whole bunch of abundant, optimistic energy, maybe even overly optimistic. Be very careful what you're doing with your money right now, because you could easily just like spend too much and then realize that you spent too much, and then you have bills to pay, and it's kind of difficult to get those bills paid now that you've spent all the money. So projects it might be a really good idea for you to just focus on the things that you need to get done tomorrow and allow yourself to take your time, really take your time, take some energy, take some space. Don't believe everything you hear tomorrow. The moon is going to be joining up with the south node that's also in Sagittarius, which is Neptune is still at 18 degrees. The nodes are at 20 degrees. And so we still have that square that's happening we're going to be under that square for quite some time, especially when Neptune goes direct. In a little while, that happens a little down the road. But it could be a little bit of a scattered energy tomorrow. Just remember don't believe everything you hear, because some of that stuff that's coming off of the energy is like over exaggerating or over emphasizing something, and it may be like you may even recognize like the too good to be trueness kind of thing. Tuesday on the 17th, we have an early morning opposition with Mercury and Scorpio opposing Uranus. And this is going to really lead us to some restless energy. I think it's going to be a good day that if you allow yourself to focus on projects and focus on creating new things and focus on the work that you have to get done. And this is one of those weeks where you're going to have to keep reminding yourself to get into the present moment, because you could very much linger into the future and be like, okay, these are all the things that I need to take care of, and really stress yourself out. So especially with that Mercury and Uranus opposition, that can bring a lot of genius, like everybody's going to want to be talking at the same time. Everybody's got a really great idea. It could be that you come up with a really great idea this week. Mars is direct now in Aries. It's slowly starting its move forward again, or slowly starting its, inching its way, right? So it's not leaving the 15-degree mark until Saturday. So even though it's like slowly inching its way to going direct, and we're still sort of in a shadow period with it, it still is direct. And so there's a lot of mistakes that could happen this week if you're not paying attention, because we're so used, for 6 weeks, Mars was retrograde. And so we're so used to not having to act on the thing and being able to like pull ourselves back and wait on it, that all we want to do right now is act on the stuff, right? And then with that Mercury opposing Uranus, I feel like we might be in for a little bit of a surprise this week as well. I do feel like lockdowns might happen again, just because I think that people are sort of getting to a boiling point, and everybody's like, Thanksgiving is next week here in the States, and like everybody's starting to get ready for the holidays, and nobody really knows what to do. And so I think that the energy that's this week, especially as we get closer to midweek, so the moon shifts from Sagittarius to Capricorn late in the evening on Tuesday, and it'll be a trine to Uranus and a square to Chiron. There might be arguments Tuesday evening. You might get into arguments Tuesday evening because we are so emotionally charged. There's like this electricity, this electric charge that's kind of over everybody. It's like a blanket of energy over everybody on Tuesday. So there could be some fighting and some arguing, and really staying in your lane and paying attention to what you need to pay attention to might be a good idea for Tuesday for sure. Wednesday is going to be more of a quiet day. The moon will be in Capricorn. So Wednesday we get like sort of a break from any kind of energetic charges. Maybe we're integrating the energy from Tuesday. But as we move from Wednesday and we shift into Thursday, the moon in Capricorn joins Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn in Capricorn. The sun will sextile Saturn, and Venus is going to square Saturn. And so this is like Saturn on top of Saturn on top of Saturn. And I think this is where the restrictions are going to take place. I think there might be some final says in some of the restrictions because it feels like there's no control over the structure anymore, and when there's no control over the structure, and Saturn is the planet of control and teaching lessons and stuff, Saturn's like, okay, we don't have control anymore. It's time to just start making some blockages and restricting some things. So I don't know that that's going to happen for sure, but that's sort of a prediction that I feel like may happen. Just my opinion, y'all, just my opinion. So based on the astrology, it's just my opinion. But really, I think that this is also in our personal lives. When we really look at our own personal lives, Thursday's asking us where we're taking care of our own business and where we're really allowing ourselves to concentrate on the things that we need to concentrate on, and not necessarily build our lives based on a fear program, and like I do think that Thursday is going to be a day of needing to shift again. Like there may be some shifting of schedules, there may be some shifting of information and news in the media. I feel like there's going to be a lot of shifting happening on Thursday, because I think that Saturn is sort of, it's like a power play almost, like Saturn is positioning us to, yeah. There's definitely a direction that Saturn wants us to all head in right now. And he, if anything, I'm gonna agree with Kronos more than I'm going to agree with anybody else. But There's definitely a need of, how are we taking better care of ourselves based on the environment that we are currently living in. So then we're going to move over to Friday, and really, Saturn is giving us a lot of lessons this week. And so I really think that we need to pay attention to this heavy energy. Like if you're feeling like there's a weight, or you're feeling like you should be doing something and you're not doing something, that is definitely a discomfort that you need to pay attention to, because the comfort level of Wednesday going into Thursday with that Capricorn moon is going to be a little bit different than, it's going to be one of those heavy Capricorn moons that we've been having as of recent. So we have the moon in Aquarius on Friday. So things get a little bit lighter, with an opportunity to really integrate the energy. The things that we learned, Aquarius wants us to, the things that we learn about the structure and the things that the Capricorn moon is showing us, the Aquarius moon wants to allow us to integrate that information and allow us to create a new structure based on all of that. Aquarius is where we detach our emotions, right? So we are, and as much as Aquariuses like to think that they're detaching themselves from the emotions, they're still sitting within themselves, right? The emotions they still exist. They're still there. It's just a more logical way of seeing it. It's a more, this is the reality and this is the way things have to go. And so I think as we get closer to the end of the week, there will be some more, we kind of all saw this coming, the numbers kept going up, things were just happening the way that they were happening, and nobody was really taking any kind of precautions or precautionary measures or whatever. And, I know that everybody has their own opinion of what is happening in the world right now. And honestly, I feel like if we all were to just be a little bit more conscientious of ourselves and a little bit more aware of our own bodies and our own selves and what we're doing, and not just doing whatever the hell we wanted to do during a pandemic, that it might not be so tough. We wouldn't have to have such big restrictions. But not everybody thinks like me, and that's only my opinion, right? So when you come to your conclusion this week, and when you come to your opinion this week, it is your decision and your choice to either voice how you feel about it, or just be like, you know what, I'm just going to mind my own business, and I'm going to stay in my own lane, and I'm going to be over here, and I'm going to wait it out, and I'm going to get the things done I need to get done. And I feel like that could, if more people allowed themselves to just be like, I just need to get things done the way that I need to get done, and didn't worry about what was going on in other people's lives, we could get through this quite easier, much easier. Okay, so then we go over to Saturday. Saturday's a really big day for us. Saturday, the sun moves into Sagittarius. I can hear all the screens now. I love Sagittarius season, but I'm a Sagittarius moon, so I always thrive emotionally during Sagittarius season. And we also have Venus moving into Scorpio. So there's this whole shift of energy that we're bringing into our lives. There is an intensity behind it. Venus in Scorpio wants what he wants and wants what she wants. And she's even a little bit darker about it. She's even a little bit shadier about what she wants. But Venus in Scorpio is a whole vibe, man. It's really intensifying the way that we care about others. It's really putting ourselves out there. If you want to shoot your shot and you want to tell somebody that you really like them, this time when Venus is in Scorpio might be the time for you to do that. Opening yourself up to things. But Venus in Scorpio is also a little bit more reserved when it comes, if they aren't really sure about the energy, the vibe is going to be like, no, I don't really know. I got to feel this out for a little bit. So Scorpio energy is really, really psychic, and they feel the energy before they actually see the energy. So, this this Venus, at least it's not squaring with Pluto, Jupiter. At least Venus isn't squaring with Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn anymore. But yeah, so that happens, and then everybody feels a little bit more joyful. We move into Sagittarius season, and we start the holiday stuff. It always feels like holiday things are happening, and happy times and celebrating always happens when we move into Sagittarius season. So Saturday is the first day of that. And a lot of stuff placing value, really, really placing value on what it is that you know to be true. Sagittarius is a very philosophical sign, and they will sit down with you and talk philosophy things and talk politics and talk religion with you for hours and hours and hours. So if you've never had a chance to sit down with Sagittarius and talk about philosophy things, this year might be the fun time to do it, because I'm sure Sagittarius have a lot to say. I know I've had a lot to say. Everybody has an opinion right now, man. Let's see what the cards have to say for this week. Today's vibe is really, really chill. So I'm really curious to see what we have coming up. What we have coming up for the week. I know that the whole week is not going to be as chill as it is right now. That's for sure. Okay. All right, we'll take those. I'm going to move this. Okay. All right, so it feels like so we're on our journey, and it feels like there's some sort of burden. It does feel as if there's like a regret when it comes to saving money or holding on to something. I feel like someone's working really, really hard to hold on tight to something, and they're not even sure if it's really going to be possible to do. So I have the Chariot. I have the 10 of Wands. I have the 4 of Pentacles. I have the 5 of Cups, and I have the 3 of Wands. It feels like somebody's been traveling, and it doesn't have to be like actual traveling. It doesn't have to be like the real, like somebody's in a car and they're traveling, or somebody's flying somewhere. This could just be the journey that you're on. This could just be the journey that we're all on, really. But it feels like this, it's come to a point where the burden, it's like you almost want to stay still. It feels paralyzing in a way, because the burden is so heavy that it almost feels paralyzing. And the 5 of Cups makes me feel like we're looking back into a past. Like it almost feels as if some of us are reminiscing about like a pre-pandemic time, like, man, wasn't it nice when we could just like remember when, like it almost feels very reminiscent about how things used to be, and how much easier life was back then, and stuff like that. And like, when are we going to find that stability? I think everybody's just exhausted. I think that we're all sort of at this point this year where we've been in survival mode and survival mode and survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, that adrenaline is just kicking in, man. Your cortisol and your adrenaline, and you're constantly having to like be on high alert. And it's hard to sleep, and it's hard to eat, and it's hard to concentrate, and it's hard to do a lot of things. And I think that when an entire world, because it's not just this country, it's the whole damn world, we've all been in survival mode this year, and we're all still fighting against each other. Like, how sad is that? That we're all going through this really big thing, this history-making thing in our lives that's not a small deal, and yet we still can't seem to get on common ground. That's a problem. And so I sort of feel like we're exhausted, and it's time for us to feel a little bit safer, and it's time for us to be like, there may be this moment where I just need to chill, and to not keep working myself to death, and to not keep working myself to the bone, and just sort of allowing the energy to take hold of everything that I have right now and move me in the direction I need to go in, because I don't know that I can do it anymore. You feel me? I know that I'm not the only person that has had those thoughts, right? Like, it's pure exhaustion in this business, and like, not the business that I'm in. I mean, it is exhausting in the business I am, but yeah, it's hard to create momentum in your life when you're sitting in survival mode. So we have Mr. Sagittarius himself. So we have the King of Wands on the Chariot. So the masculine energy is showing up. The divine masculine energy is showing up. And you know, it's so interesting because when we have this, like, no, I can keep going. Like, it doesn't matter how burdened I am. It doesn't matter how much this is, you know, affecting me in any way, shape, or form. I know what I have to do to keep going and keep moving on my journey. Like, I feel like this reading is about not giving up. And to, yes, you can reminisce about the past, and yes, you can admit that you're exhausted, and yes, please take some time. If you are exhausted, please take some time and a little bit of self-care and valuing yourself. But also at the same time, keep that confidence level up. Keep moving forward. Allow yourself to say, you know, I know that I didn't get this far, right? Like, look back at how far you've come. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah. And here's the thing is, this 10 of Wands is really saying that your journey is almost, that heavy burden that you're carrying right now is really almost not so heavy anymore. The 7 of Pentacles is about planting the seed. And when we're in a momentum where we're sort of just feeling really overwhelmed and we feel a little bit lost, and it's like, I know that I have to keep going, but I don't know what direction that's in because I'm so exhausted, that's when the universe sort of comes in and is like, you know what, just plant the seed. Just start somewhere. Just start with one step. You don't have to try and take care of all of the things, everything all at once, right? When you just start with one step and you get yourself moving in one direction and you see that all you have to do is to create a little bit of momentum in that direction, right? And there's a lesson that we're learning right now too, this Saturnian, the very Saturnian lesson with the Capricorn, with the devil here, right? The very Saturnian lesson on the 4 of Pentacles. So the devil on the 4 of Pentacles is like, you've got to, there comes a time when Saturn is showing you how you are fucking up, how you're messing up your life, or how you're the one that's creating and making the choices that are creating the situations that you're in. You don't always have to be in a mode of survival, even when the entire world is in survival. You can make other decisions in your life. And I know that sometimes that sounds impossible, or it seems like it's impossible, but I mean, I'm a firm believer, and honestly, like, the things that I've been able to create in the last 3 years of my life when I have been at the most survival mode ever, like, I know it's possible to create anything when you have nothing left. It's even more possible then, right? But you have to learn the lessons that Saturn is bringing to you. So, like, wherever it is, you know, I recognized even myself with this Scorpio season that I have been slipping back into some bad habits that definitely have to, and that happens to me every Scorpio season. Like, I don't know what it is. I mean, I know that with Scorpio season, it like digs into the depths of our souls so that we can see exactly what it is that we have to heal within ourselves. And you know, last Scorpio season, it was about me realizing how much I needed to love myself. And then this Scorpio season, it was about me realizing that I still love myself and I can't like mess things up by having bad habits and going back into like the old patterns of things that I used to do and stuff. So really let yourself integrate the lessons of what Scorpio season brought to you, because Saturn is trying to show you that stuff. And if you are holding, like, it feels like there's a whole, like you're holding on to something material, like money, to your environment. Like, people are worried about paying their bills right now, and people are really worried about, you know, whether they're going to have a roof over their head. Excuse me. Hold on a second. And so if you're somebody that's not having to struggle, just recognize that the perception of what's happening in this world is not the same. You know, we have a whole bunch of different viewpoints and a whole bunch of different perceptions that are happening in the world right now. So creating a space for yourself to really integrate the lessons that Saturn is teaching you, not the lessons that Saturn's trying to teach somebody else. Stop trying to pay attention to other people's journeys. When we're paying attention to other people's journeys, we're not paying attention to our journey, right? So really find out what it is that Saturn has been teaching you. And, you know, if you want to sit in a pattern, right? The Two of Swords with the Five of Cups. So you're sitting there and you're sort of wallowing in your self-pity. But that Two of Swords is like, there's a decision that you need to make. And if you would stop wallowing in your self-pity and took the blindfolders off and put those swords down and you weren't so defensive, you'd actually probably see the answer to this. But instead, you're creating a blockage. You're creating a blockage to finding out information or even integrating that information that you're trying to figure out. It's like the lesson, like Saturn's trying to show you those lessons, but all you're doing is paying attention to what happened in the past. Like romanticizing the past. I sure wish. Something that we talked about in the manifesting workshop yesterday was about romanticizing the past. And we even romanticize the past in a negative way. We sort of embellish all of the things that people did to us to make us look like the victims, to make it seem like it was actually worse, so that we can justify the emotions that we have for it, instead of just being like, okay, well, I'm going to put the swords down, I'm going to take the blindfold off, and here, this is what you get, and this is what you have. And so I think more of that, and all of it has to do with the structure, right? The Four of Wands, this is the structure. This is that Saturn, right? Saturn in Capricorn structure. And whatever it is that we're holding on to really, really tightly, whatever it is that we think that we need to exist within, the time and space, and exist within all of the things that are happening and the things that are being created moving forward, if we were to just allow ourselves an opportunity to be honest about what we need to do, and then let the universe take care of the rest. It's like you don't need to solve other people's problems. You just have to solve your own problems. The universe is going to take care of everybody else's shit, everybody else's issues, right? So we have the Wheel of Fortune and the Page of Swords on the Four of Wands. So getting really honest about the things that you need to change. You're in charge of getting this wheel moving. You're in charge of getting the new energy to shift in your direction. And with that wheel and the shifting in your direction, the divine timing is there. And so when we are patient, right, we get honest with ourselves, we shift the energy, and then we sit back and we become really, really patient. And that's when things start to come together. I have the Three of Cups with the Knight of Cups. And I also feel like this would be a really good week for you to fall back on your friends. If you need some help, don't let pride get in the way of asking your friends for help, and I know that can be a thing sometimes, especially in this day and age when we don't want to make it seem like we're worse off than we really are. But, sometimes everybody needs a little bit of help and a little bit of assistance. And there's nothing wrong with admitting that things are a little bit hard for you right now. So, I think this week is really about structure. And I think that a lot of our structure is about to get shifted again. And when our structures get shifted again, we all have to reintegrate ourselves and reintegrate our energies into a new kind of paradigm all over again. So allowing yourself to just take one day at a time, one step at a time, and don't dwell on the things that you can't change from the past, because the past is the past after all. Like, there's nothing you can do about changing it now. So I love you guys. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I hope you're taking some time to rest today. And I hope to see you in the memberships. And please, get a reading while you're at it. I have really enjoyed getting settled into this new space and being able to do my work in this new space, because I'm just like so gratefully blessed. So, I hope you guys are all doing well, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.